Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Chat. Today we have our clinician, Kristina, with us. Kristina, I'll let you introduce yourself and then tell us what topic you've chosen for today.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so glad to be here. This is so much fun to do this with you. I love talking about all things therapy. My name is Kristina Fyrwald. I am an associate clinical social worker, and I'm licensed both in Illinois as well as California. I live in Los Angeles, so I'm not currently taking California clients, but I do have my license here as well. Um, and yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, what topic have you chosen today?
So today I've chosen my probably my largest passion in life, which is nervous system regulation or
Mm,
somatic work, which when I went into this field, it wasn't what I thought I was going to be working on. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what mind body work meant or why that was important. I think I thought, and it's funny because I do live in Los Angeles, but I think I thought it was really woo woo and it was for like ultra spiritual people. And so it was just like never something I was interested in until I had my own journey with chronic pain, and
mm,
that lasted many, many years and still goes on a bit today. But this somatic work was introduced to me and it totally changed the way I relate to myself, the way I relate to others, the way I relate to work and the world. And so I'm incredibly passionate about using it with my clients.
yeah. So, what does that look like?
So I feel I could talk about this for
Go
probably
for it. We have
days on
we have
end.
40 minutes.
Okay,
Go
amazing.
for it.
So
Yeah.
So I'll just start with sort of the highlights and then please feel free to jump in with any questions that you have. If you have like specifics about how I use it in client work or
Yeah.
whatever that might be. So I was introduced to, and it's like sometimes I don't even know where to start. So hopefully this isn't too all over the place. Um, and if it is, I hope that people can
Yeah.
track and get something out of it for
Don't
sure.
even worry about that. Yeah. Just
Yeah. Okay,
go
perfect.
for it.
So I was introduced to somatic experiencing trauma resolution work by one of my mentors who I absolutely adore. I've taken many of her group classes. I've listened to, she has a podcast out now, every single one of her podcasts, which I'm happy to share. Her name is Sarah Baldwin. And I just think she's an incredible presence in this space. And I've done my own I'll talk a little bit about myself and then go into how I use it with clients. So
Yeah.
I've done a lot of my own therapy work, and this is what I find for a lot of clients who come to me is they have a lot of knowledge, right? So they've read a lot of books, they've read Attached, they've read, I don't know what, Codependent No More, like what are some of the books
Mm-hmm.
you love? Um,
Mm-hmm.
some of the really buzzy books that I think are absolutely wonderful, but I found myself, like a lot of my clients, having a lot of knowledge, but having trouble implementing it, right? Like there was
Mm,
this barrier in between the two. And I still found myself after, many years of my own therapeutic work, different types of support groups, really changing up my lifestyle. I stopped drinking over a decade ago. I don't drink caffeine. I probably haven't drank caffeine in like 5 years. I don't even know how long it's been now. But I
mm,
still found myself feeling really stuck. I still found myself anxious a lot of the time, overwhelmed. There was so much tension in my body all the time, and I just couldn't really understand what was missing.
mm-hmm,
And so, somewhere along my journey, I'd come upon, I have so many thoughts about social media, but I think one of the really wonderful things is we are introduced to ideas and modalities that we wouldn't normally be introduced to.
mm-hmm,
And so I was on Instagram one day, and this specific mentor was talking about somatic experiencing and why we can't change and move towards the big life we're wanting to live just with the knowledge, right? We have a nervous system.
mm-hmm,
And I had just no idea what that meant, but it really spoke, when there's just those moments where something really sticks out and I'm like, whoa, like that really caught my attention. I didn't know why, I didn't know what it meant. But I really like, and a big component I use in my work is psychoeducation. So I really like understanding things, right? Instead of just I guess I have anxiety. I guess I'm a really anxious person, right? I was like, why? Why do I get so triggered in relationships? Why do I get so triggered with family? Why do I get so
Mm.
triggered around work? And this gave language to a lot of it, which is the first thing I do with my clients, which feels really helpful. So I'll sort of talk about my process parallel
Yeah.
with clients.
Yeah.
So, the first thing that was introduced to me and that I use with clients is just some psychoeducation around like what is our nervous system? And, I am still working to understand the specifics of the neurobiology behind this. I am by no means a neuroscientist. And so I take what I
Mm.
understand and I leave the rest because
Sure.
what I like about a lot of my mentors is it doesn't have to be so complicated, right? Like,
Mm.
we don't have to gatekeep this work. It can really be simple. Like, I like that one of my mentors talks about, you know, we don't have to know how every individual part of our car works to be able to drive a car and to be able to be the
Yeah.
active operator of our
Yes.
car, right? And so the same thing goes with our nervous system. Like, I like to know all the things, um,
Yeah.
but my clients don't necessarily have to. And so the first thing I talk about with my clients is what is our autonomic nervous system and why does, when I'm in a moment of high anxiety where I'm feeling engulfed by my emotions, right? Like I can just think
Mm.
of myself, but also many clients I have who experience a rupture with their partner. So,
Yeah.
so there's something either perceived that's conflict or there is an actual conflict, and they
Yeah.
just totally engulfed by emotions, right? They don't feel in control of how they're feeling, what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and logic at that point isn't going to work, right? Of like, it's
Right.
okay, calm down. Or if you've ever, I mean, you're a parent, right?
Right.
I mean, there's probably so many things that you're like, my child's okay, right? It's not that big of a
Right.
deal. And it's like, that does nothing for this whole experience down here.
No,
Um,
not at all. Maybe
yeah,
like chin up, but the rest
yeah,
of my body is still feeling whatever it's gonna feel.
yeah, absolutely. And you're a
Yeah.
therapist, so you have
Right.
probably more awareness around this than a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have this autonomic nervous system, and the it starts at our brainstem and then goes down from there into our gut viscera. And so, the easiest way that that was explained to me is that's below our prefrontal cortex. And so, when
Mm-hmm.
my autonomic nervous system is online, and I've got to figure out a better way to like do an elevator pitch around this, but it's subcortical, and so it doesn't speak in intellectual language. And so just
Mm.
telling my system, right? Like I notice I have a little extra energy in my system now as we're talking because I want to say the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually going to take a deep breath and practice what I preach, but just telling myself, right? Like, it's okay. Ramya's safe. I'm talking about something I have some knowledge on, right? My system's still like, are you sure this is okay? Right? My
Right.
sympathetic fight or flight system comes online.
Right.
My heart is beating quickly. There's
Yeah.
some tension in my
Yeah.
throat.
And for people listening that maybe don't
Yes.
know that, just in like simple terms, it's usually what we call nervousness or anxiety. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Exactly. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And so let me explain the system first and then try to like really simplify it. So our autonomic nervous system, like I said, it has this threat detector in our brainstem that's called neuroception. And it's
Mm.
constantly scanning our external environment and our internal environment and, between two people. So like I'm in conversation with you right now.
Mm.
And it's scanning for, is this safe, dangerous, or life-threatening? Is this safe, dangerous, or life-threatening? Is this safe, dangerous, or life-threatening?
Mm.
And it does this every millisecond, with which I think
Oh my
is,
gosh, I
I
didn't
think it's
know that.
thousandth of a second, which is really incredible, right? We're just going about sort of like on autopilot, living our life, and we have this function that is working so hard to keep us safe.
Right.
And so what happens is, how does it determine if something's safe, dangerous, or life-threatening? It looks to what one of my mentors calls our receptacle of past experiences. And so it has
Mm.
every lived experience we've ever had in there, the good, the bad. And obviously, to keep us safe, the bad or the negative is highlighted, right? So it's going to be
Mm.
like really vigilant for those difficult experiences. And so, So it scans, I'm trying to think. So it's scanning right now, right? Where I am, what I'm doing with you is this safe, dangerous, or life-threatening. And my system isn't 100% sure because I look to my receptacle of past experience and it's like, I don't know, sometimes using your voice wasn't safe, sometimes speaking
Mm.
up wasn't safe. I know that it's just the two of us, but I know
No,
that
that makes sense. Go for
share.
it. Yeah.
And so my system, without my knowledge, is
Yeah.
like, well, when have spoken in front of other people, that's been
Yeah.
really scary. And so when it detects anything but safety, it calls in, and let me know if this is too complicated, but what my mentor calls our special ops team. So it's got a couple different options. So if my system thinks, okay, this might be dangerous, but it's not life-threatening, right? Like I know Ramya,
Hmm.
I know, um, I know it's going to be okay. It
Hmm.
calls team sympathetic. So it gets me to
Hmm.
mobilize. So
Hmm.
that's our fight or flight system where, and I have some notes here because, it kind of flies out of my head as I'm doing this, but that's where anxiety, anger, frustration, feeling out of control, like
Hmm.
overwhelmed, like things are too much. We can often feel like heat in our system, our heartbeat racing, tension in our body, sweating,
Hmm.
any of those experiences that sort of, evolutionarily prepares our body to fight or flee. It gets
Hmm.
us mobilized because it thinks I can get away from the threat. So for a very long time, and I know a lot of my clients can live here, I lived my life in that chronic state of sympathetic fight or flight mobilization
Hmm. Hmm.
when we're chronically here for gosh a number of issues but not a main
Hmm.
one of this is trauma, so
Hmm.
energy that's in our system that hasn't been able to discharge. So trauma is any event that's overwhelming to our system, and a definition I like is anything that was too much too fast, too much for too long, or too little for too long. So it's a very broad definition.
Yeah, that feels like everything almost.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It feels like so many different things because it is. And so sometimes our system doesn't, and sorry, I know I can kind of jump all over the place with this, but does that
You're
make
good.
sense as far as
Yes.
why our system might call in sympathetic?
Yeah. Yeah.
And two other of our main sort of states it can call in is our other main state of our nervous system is called dorsal. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when and it can call this in for a number of different reasons, but basically it doesn't feel like something is safe in our environment or within
Hmm.
ourselves. It can call in our state of dorsal, which is like where shutdown, apathy, low energy, heaviness, dissociation, all of that lives. Um, and the other is freeze. So that's sort of when we have a lot of energy in our system, but we feel like we can't do any, but we also feel sort of like heavy and paralyzed. It's like a deer in headlights. So it's like there's so much going on internally, but it's hard to move. It's hard to
Hmm.
mobilize towards what I want, right? It's like I have to do this, but I can't. I have to do this, but I can't.
Hmm.
And then the state that we want to spend most of our time in is called our ventral state. So
Mm.
to make this really simple, our ventral state is our state of safety. Our sympathetic state is our state of oh my gosh, what's the word that I'm looking for? It starts with an S. I'm gonna miss it. Dorsal is our state of shutdown. Um, gosh, I can't believe it's slipping my mind right now. But anyway,
That's
it's
okay. It'll come back to you.
yeah, it'll come back to me. It's where our state of fear lives.
Uh-huh.
And so those are sort of the three main states. And my work with clients is and for myself is how do we get into that ventral safe state more of the time, right?
Hmm.
Like, obviously, this isn't always going to happen. We wouldn't always want to live there because there are very real threats in our worlds. Our
Hmm.
world is a very scary place, but how do we when we've had trauma, and like I said, that definition is so very broad. It can be so
Right.
many different things.
It's because it's so unique to the individual. I mean, I'm a trauma therapist myself, trauma-informed therapist, and so I know that something that feels traumatic, if you will, to one person isn't going to for the other person. Someone might experience, two people might experience the same thing. I mean, and one person is going to receive some kind of mental health diagnosis about it or experience symptoms, and the other person actually may not at all. So, in essence, that definition has to be broad to allow for the variability of people's humanness and the way that their body experiences and responds to those things.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, we can often see this in sibling dynamics. I know that I can see
Yeah.
it in my own family where it's like, we had the same environment, we had the same inputs, and we have very different reactions
Mm-hmm.
inputs. And so, just to sort of like make this concise and hopefully make it make sense for people and bring it together, although this does require, right, it can be a whole new language. And so, like I said, when I heard it the first time, I was like, this is so interesting. I like this, but I don't get it, And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
this often takes time if people are listening and they're like, okay, sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason that we can be in that chronic dysregulation that I was talking about is unresolved trauma, right? Because a lot of us, and not all of us, right? If we're a person of color, if we're a person with an LGBTQIA identification, like there are a lot of real spaces of unsafety in our worlds, unfortunately. And so
Mm-hmm.
it can be very privileged and whitewashed to say, like, you're safe now. You're not in that abusive home. Like, everything's good
Mm-hmm.
now, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
not so many, very many people's experiences. But for the sake of this conversation and keeping it sort of a little bit more narrow, a reason we can be in that chronic dysregulation, which just means I either spend majority of my time anxious, upregulated, activated in that way, or really shut down or kind of frozen is unresolved trauma. So my system
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know that what I experienced that was dangerous is over. And it's perpetually calling in sympathetic, it's perpetually calling in shutdown, it's perpetually calling in these active self-protective responses because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't yet know that I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the work, and I have to live this every single day, because it's not just something we do once and that's resolved, but a lot of work I do with clients is first of all education about their system, because really the goal is to get them back in the driver's seat of their experience. So
Yeah.
when this anxiety is coming on, or when they're in a state of their nervous system that doesn't feel favorable to where they'd like to be, they have the tools to be able to notice, oh, I'm dipping into sympathetic. Let me do some controlled breathing, or let
Mm-hmm.
me take a walk. Let me go feel the sun on my face. Let me do
Mm-hmm.
something that's going to down regulate myself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of what happens for a lot of people is when that neuroception detects some sort of threat, their nervous system takes over and they're no longer feeling in control of their words, behaviors, thoughts, all of those things. And so
Yeah.
my job is to help them be the active operator of that nervous system.
Yeah. So to be
So,
proactive of like practicing these skills, knowing what's going on in our body, increase awareness, sounds like. So that way, if and when these things happen, we have the tools already and we've already practiced them to be able to put them into action to get us regulated, to help us calm down, um, instead of just allowing our emotions or our experiences to sit in the driver's seat.
yes, absolutely. And
It's so funny. I use that image all the time with my clients too. Of like, let's get you back in the driver's seat. Like everything else can sit in the back or is in the trunk, but you are the driver of the car.
yes. And it's so empowering, right? So I think people who have had trauma, which again, like the more I'm in this field and just in the world, like most people
Most people, yeah.
to some extent, right? Like they can feel so, I have found myself and other clients can feel so disempowered, right? It's like my
Mm-hmm.
anxiety just takes me over when I shut down, right? Like, or I hear from a lot of clients, like, I feel like my life is just passing me by. I feel like I'm not really present, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the work, like you were talking about, of breath work, regulating, things that they have some empowerment with, is showing your system we're here and here
Mm-hmm.
is safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those younger parts that are still fearful, we're showing your system we're here and here is safe, right? Here is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what was I going to say? Oh yeah, it's so empowering, right? When clients understand like, oh, I have this nervous system, the blueprint came in childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and this is sort of it makes sense that my protective responses would be coming online like this, and I have some choice, right? Our
Mm-hmm.
nervous systems need choice to be able to feel safe. And
Mm-hmm.
so instead of just feeling like, oh, I'm having a panic attack again, or I'm, engulfed in a conflict with my partner, like raising awareness can give choice. And I think that that can be really powerful. And like you said, it's how do we build regulating resources that they can turn to regularly. Like this becomes a lifestyle, or that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to work on with my clients, because if we're really anxious and we use a breathing technique one time, it's not going to change the shape of our nervous system. But if this is
Right.
something that we're constantly practicing, and we're also building our life as much as possible around, who are we spending time with? Are we setting boundaries? Are we
Mm-hmm.
getting outside? Are we getting movement, right? Like there's
Yeah.
so much holistically that can
Yeah.
towards a more
A
regular.
lot, I think, of what some of my clients are talking about right now is being mindful about what we're consuming too. Like, how much news are we consuming? How much social media are we consuming? What kind of TV shows are we watching? All of that, I think, more passive stuff that we don't necessarily stop and think about as much these days, but it also has a huge impact on what we perceive as safe, what we perceive as comfortable or okay, even. Um, so that was just a little, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
thought.
I work
Yeah.
so much with my clients on what they're intaking, and especially like morning and night routines, right? Because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people who are in that chronic dysregulation, which just means, to put it really simply, like their system just doesn't feel good a lot of the time. They're not really able to feel present, okay, calm, majority of the time. And so, that's where sleep issues can come in. But yeah, we really work on, it can seem simple, but it's so powerful, morning and evening routine where
Mm-hmm.
like I don't like my clients to, if they can, I know this is so different for everybody, but to pick up their phone first thing in the morning, to check their emails first thing in the morning, to have news notifications first thing in the
Mm-hmm.
morning.
Mm-hmm.
What does that signal to our system, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much going on, and our bodies don't evolve that quickly to be able to intake all of this noise and threat, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
the news we're intaking is threatening. It's
Mm-hmm.
scary. And if
I've
that's
actually had to turn off all the news notifications on my
yeah,
phone, and I've like been doing the do not disturb stuff from like a certain time at night to a certain time in the morning, so that way I don't even get any other notifications except for a few like family members that
yeah,
I would need to hear from.
right.
Um,
There's so
yeah,
many
but
ways to do
yeah,
it.
yeah. So that's been super important. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, how do we, I talk a lot to my clients, and I'm sure you do too, about reparenting our systems and
Mm-hmm.
listening to our systems. First of all, like that's such a powerful thing that I think happens when we just tap into our bodies. There's so much information there, right? About why do I feel so much anxiety when I'm around this person? Why do I feel so much anxiety when I'm on social media or have my news apps open? Like that's really important information. And so, right, how do it's unique for every individual. One of my best
Mm-hmm.
friends can watch the scariest movies before she goes to sleep and gets the best night of sleep. That is okay with her nervous system. That would never work for my particular nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And so really, yeah, how do we protect not in a way that's out of fear, but in a way that's really compassionate to our systems of like I talk to my nervous system like a little kid all the time, and it's like, it's okay, sweetie, we're gonna watch like New Girl tonight. Like we know that that's
Yeah.
our system,
Yes. Yeah.
self-compassion is also,
Yeah.
begrudgingly what I learned, a
Yeah.
non-negotiable component of this work
Yeah.
is,
I found that my body and my nervous system often confuses things, and I'm constantly getting the message that like things are unsafe or like it's a life-threatening or like a dying anxiety, like what you said. So I've even had to focus on my five senses and like do something different, like have a strong mint or like one of those sour candies or go to the bathroom, splash cold water on my face and look myself in the mirror and be like, you're just nervous. This isn't a dying anxiety. So
yeah,
I guess just to the point of it can be very simple but still very powerful.
so very simple. And I
Simple
think
as simple as like, chewing on a piece of gum just to disrupt that feeling and get us into a different place where we can think about and regulate our body.
absolutely, yeah, a lot of the tools that I start off with clients is like breathing exercises, sensory
Mm-hmm.
exercises, mindfulness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can see, I see some clients bristle at it or not want to practice it at first because they think um, it's so, I don't even know the word, but like benign compared to the
Mm-hmm.
overwhelm they're experiencing in their life. But again, it's showing those fragmented, for lack of a better word, parts of us that the danger is over, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're okay to be present. If I need to, if we're talking evolutionarily speaking, right? If my system sees something in my life as threatening as running from a lion, right? It's not going to stop to have a sensory experience. It's not going to stop
Yeah.
to hold breathing. And so
Right.
that's sort of how we show the system like,
Yeah.
hey, we're not running from a lion right now.
Yeah.
We're okay to taste the sour candy. We're
Yeah.
okay to lean into our senses. And so
Yeah.
that's definitely
Yeah.
something I utilize with clients.
And just to be clear for people that might be listening or watching, I think sometimes it's misconstrued in media that like we're trying to eliminate that danger or life-threatening response. We still want your body to respond if it can, if we are being chased by a lion, right? We're not trying to eliminate that at all. We're just trying to make sure that not every experience that we have in life is being responded to that way.
Yes, it's to have a spectrum, right? Of like
Mm-hmm.
the goal is, right? Like I'm thinking of the Los Angeles fires that happened, gosh, I think it was January.
Mm-hmm.
That was very appropriate for a city to go into fight or flight, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a very scary experience. I would not want to be looking at the flames that I could see right out my other window and do a meditation, feel really
Yeah.
relaxed, right? I may not
Yeah.
live, you
Right.
know? And so
Right.
so we absolutely want those responses. We want them functioning the way that they're supposed to, like you said, right?
Correct.
And our whole
Yeah.
point, I don't know what this ball is called, but I think you might have had it. I'm not sure exactly how old you are, but we used to play with them at school, those balls that open and close.
Yes. Yeah. I
Open.
forget what they're called. Oh my
I forget what
goodness.
they're called too, but they were so
Yeah.
fun, even though they don't really do anything.
Yeah.
Um, but the what I've understood from learning more and more about this trauma work is what we want is a flexible nervous system. So we want to be
Mm.
able to go into that anxious place, right, when something's happening. I'm trying to think for me, I don't know, I can't think of something, and then come down from it, right? So it's like something happens and then completing the stress response. So then being able to come back into presence, calm, okayness, flow. So yes, that's really important. We don't want to get rid of those, and we want to be
Mm-hmm.
really compassionate towards those. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something I want to add too, is I see so much self-deprecation, self-loathing even from my clients coming in
Mm.
about, and I sure felt this myself too, why can't I just get over this? I'm always
Yeah.
anxious, but there's nothing to be anxious about. Why can't I just get over this?
Yeah.
So to
It's
have
frustrating almost.
it's so
Yeah.
frustrating, right? But the more we battle those self-protective parts, the stronger they get because they really, really want to keep us safe. And so if we can have some compassion for them doing their job, right? It's like, gosh, there were so many I don't know. I'm trying to think of like public speaking events or things where I had to use my voice growing up that didn't feel safe to my system, right? And so even just doing something like this that I
Yeah.
know is so unbelievably safe, and I know I kind of touched on this earlier, right? Like my
Right.
system starts to get hot, my face starts to get red, I start to
Yeah.
feel tension in my body, and I can, my immediate reaction is like, "Oh my God, like why are you doing this? This is safe, right? Like,
Right.
this is
Yeah.
fun. I like to talk. And so I'm sort of like battling these parts,
Yeah.
and it just gets worse, really, because
Well,
then
I
it's
think it's a little bit, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's a little bit of that like receptacle of past experiences you were talking about. Like if we were 10, 15, had to do a speech in front of the class or whatever, maybe we had a bad experience, it didn't go as well. Those are the things that come up in situations like this, even though we know we are maybe more comfortable, things are safe, there's no judgment in this space, but we're basing this experience off of that past one that we've had.
absolutely like a really good way to tie it all together, right? When I don't even know what age it was, but it was young and it probably went on for a while. But whenever I would get up in front of the class and talk, my face would turn red. And
Mm,
boys in the class would make fun of me. I was so
yeah,
self-conscious about it. And so
yeah.
what my system beautifully and brilliantly does is it calls in, it's like this wasn't safe, right? This led to rejection, which at those like tender young ages, that feels like life or death.
Yes,
Rejection now, it can still feel really scary or whatever, but at that time it is so
yeah,
it carries such a weight. And so
yeah.
what my system brilliantly did was like, this isn't safe. What we're going to do for you is when you're going to stand up in front of people, use your voice, be vulnerable, we're gonna make that experience really scary so you don't do it. We're gonna turn your face red. We're gonna sort of like close up your throat. We're gonna create a lot of tension in your chest so that you avoid that, you flee
Mhm,
that experience.
mhm, mhm,
Right. And so you don't step into that because what we know about that is that was really scary. That led to
mhm,
people laughing at you, that led to you looking stupid, right? And so
mhm.
I know the correlation can seem for some people like that was such a long time. I mean, the experience I'm thinking about was like in sixth grade, but
Yeah,
that still lives in me and perpetually
yeah,
lives itself out. But
yeah.
we're able to resolve it and show our parts, right? Like I'm gonna sit with that part after this and show it like
Right,
you did a great, like do some nurturing and
right.
showing it that this experience was safe.
I also notice, if I can put you on the spot just for a minute, how kindly and empathetically you talk to yourself and to your body and about your body. You listed all these things about how your body turned your face red and closed your throat up and made your chest tight so that way you avoid speaking in front of people. But the way you said it was my body beautifully adapted to it to save me from that rejection or embarrassment, right? I imagine it took a very long time to be able to talk about yourself that way. Um, and also, that's just who Kristina is for people that don't know. And so I, would highly encourage taking out this kind of treatment modality if it feels right for you, but also thinking out Kristina, because I would love for more people to get there. I would love for myself to get there a little more. And I've learned so much from you um,
Oh, and
in
yeah,
our time today. But yeah, go ahead. I just
I
wanted
was
to,
just going to wrap up with
yes,
the compassion piece, right? In that,
yes.
yeah, this is first of all with self, because I feel like wrapping up with this is the best because it's my favorite part of this work, and it's a gift that I had no idea I needed. I would be given through this work. I did not know it was possible for me. I am not somebody who spoke this way to myself.
Mm,
Gosh, even like 2 years ago, and so. I understood this to be an essential component of reparenting my system, showing my system it's safe. If I'm constantly berating my system, that's not a safe experience for those parts. That's not a safe
Mhm.
experience for my nervous system. And so it's going to keep me perpetually dysregulated. And so the first thing I'll say is if it's possible for me, it is possible for absolutely anyone. And it's a practice. We don't need to get there today. And there
Yeah,
are really tolerable, doable steps on the way to get there. But it's a beautiful way to live because we live with ourselves, right? When we get off this call, I'm with myself.
yeah,
When I go to bed tonight, I might be with a partner, but I'm with myself. And so making that a safe, loving, tolerable some days is the best I can do place to
yeah.
be.
And that
Um,
we are with ourselves first, and then we are with the other people in our lives, whether, like you said, a partner, or for me, my child, or whatever. I'm not going to be able to help anybody else if I'm not able to regulate myself first. And um, if for those people that don't know, my child is very young. He's only 10 months old, but I've been learning a lot about responsive parenting and gentle parenting. And I imagine that using that for ourselves is an excellent way of like the self-compassion piece that you're touching on too.
yeah.
And like the reparenting piece that you were talking about.
Yeah, we model it as parents too, right? We can
Yeah.
think it's selfish or caretakers of any kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take time for ourselves, but then we're showing our children it's not okay to take time for yourself. Even if we're
Yeah.
telling them, kids are show not tell. And so is our nervous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We tell our nervous system, I love you, I care about you. And then, I don't know, I'm making this up, but like work 60 hours a week, work
Yeah.
out way more than our body wants to work out. We're
Yeah.
like, I love you, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't believe you. You're not
Yeah.
showing me. And so this
Yeah.
work is all about showing our system. So
Yeah.
it's been so much fun to talk about this with you.
Yeah, and I mean, well, please, if you want, we could even do like a part two. I feel like we've
I would
only
love
scratched the
to.
surface.
We've
We
only
only
scratched
scratched the
the
surface.
surface.
Yeah,
Yes. I would love to, and maybe we can in that give some like concrete examples. Or I know
I love that.
relationships is something people come to me a lot with, so we can maybe more specific
Ooh,
relationships to make it more
yeah. One
concrete.
last question I had for you before we wrap up is just like, if people are wondering like one resource or like something to read or like to just get more information, what's maybe like the one thing that you recommend people start with?
Yep. One thing above all, as I was mentioning before, Sarah Baldwin has been a
Hmm.
mentor and great teacher of mine. She's such a regulating presence. Our nervous systems read nervous systems. So
Hmm.
when we're listening to somebody that registers as safe, that actually calms our system as well. She has a podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts. I don't know if it's available anywhere else, but it's called You Make Sense. And that is where
Mm.
I would start for anybody. It is so palatable. It's not right. There's so many things that are difficult to read because
Hmm.
the material is difficult, understanding it is difficult. This is very, I don't, easy and digestible. And
Yeah,
she's a wonderful teacher and presence. So if I was going to recommend one thing above all, that would be it.
yeah. All right. That feels like a good place to wrap up, but stay tuned, hopefully, for part two
Oh,
soonish. Christina, wonderful as always to speak with you, and I learned a lot today, so hopefully our listeners did too.
great. Thank you so much for opening up this safe space. And thank you for being a safe nervous system for your clients in the world. It's truly a gift and your son.
Thank you.